19 years old, barely 12 months removed from Spain's second division, and he just made Real Madrid write the biggest check in their history for a teenager. His name is Yan Diomande, and if you don't know it yet, you're about to, because every single team in La Liga just found out they have a problem they cannot solve. Here's the number that should terrify defenders from Barcelona to Sevilla. At the 2026 World Cup, in just 4 matches, Diomande created 11 scoring chances for Ivory Coast. 4 games, 11 chances. That's not a promising kid. That's a player operating on a different clock than everyone else on the pitch. And it's not a one-tournament fluke. This past Bundesliga season, he put up 12 goals and 8 assists, 20 direct goal contributions, while dragging RB Leipzig to a third-place finish. A teenager, in one of the toughest leagues in the world. Real Madrid didn't just sign a promising winger this summer. Multiple reports have the deal landing somewhere north of 100 million euros, with some figures, once you include performance add-ons, pushing as high as 130 euros, 135 million euros. For a player who was turning out for Leganes's reserve team 18 months ago. So here's the question this video is going to answer. What did Real Madrid actually just buy? Because by the time we're done, you're going to understand exactly why José Mourinho pushed so hard to get this deal over the line, and why the rest of La Liga should already be losing sleep over it. Let's rewind, because the speed of this story is part of what makes it so unsettling for everyone else in the league. January 2025, Yan Diomande signs for Spanish club Leganés, not even for the first team at first, but largely for their reserves. 6 months later, RB Leipzig activate his release clause, reported at around 20 million euros, and take him to Germany. 20 million euros. Write that number down, because by the time Real Madrid came calling barely a year later, that fee had multiplied by more than 6 times over. What happened in between is the part that should worry you if you are a La Liga sporting director. Diomande didn't just play well in the Bundesliga, he became one of its most productive attackers, period. 12 goals, 8 assists. A regular fixture among the league's leaders in dribbles completed and progressive carries. Leipzig's head coach, Ole Werner, said the thing that stood out most wasn't even the flair. It was that Diomande works for the team and is very good at counter-pressing. Hold that thought, because we're coming back to it. That sentence is going to matter a lot more once we talk about how Mourinho wants to use him. Then came the World Cup. Ivory Coast were eliminated in the round of 32, beaten by Norway. So on paper, this wasn't some deep tournament run that built a legend over 6 or 7 matches. He only got 4 games. And in those 4 games, he created 11 chances. More than most attackers manage across an entire group stage and knockout run combined. That's the stat that turned a promising Bundesliga winger storyline into a full-blown transfer war. And this is where it gets interesting, because Real Madrid weren't even the first name in this race. The bidding war Madrid had to win. Paris Saint-Germain wanted him. Liverpool wanted him. At one stage, PSG's final offer was reported at roughly £102.5 million, and it still wasn't enough. Reports even had PSG issuing frustrated public remarks about Madrid's spending once they realized they were being priced and outworked out of the deal. Why did Real Madrid win this race when 2 of the richest, most ambitious clubs in world football wanted the same player? Part of it is money, obviously. But part of it, and this is the part almost nobody is talking about yet, is that Diomande's contract terms were reportedly modeled directly on Jude Bellingham's deal. Performance incentives. A structure that pays him more as he proves himself rather than a flat wage regardless of output. Think about what that tells you. Madrid didn't just outbid PSG and Liverpool with cash. They sold Diomande on a very specific pitch. You're not a squad rotation option here. You're being built into the spine of this team, the way Bellingham was. That's not how you talk a 19-year-old into your project unless you actually mean it. So now the fee is on the board. Somewhere in that 100–130 million euro range depending on how the add-ons trigger. And Diomande is a Real Madrid player. Which means the question La Liga now has to answer isn't, was this a smart signing? It's, how do you actually stop him? And that's where this gets genuinely difficult for the other 19 teams in this league. Why low blocks won't save anyone? Here's the single biggest problem Diomande creates for La Liga, and it has nothing to do with hype. It's structural. Most La Liga teams that face Real Madrid do one thing. They sit deep, pack the box, and dare Madrid to break them down through patience and precision. It's worked before. Vinícius and Mbappé are devastating in space, in transition, on the counter, but against a compact, disciplined low block, even elite talent can get stuck bouncing the ball around the edge of the box with nowhere to go. Diomande is built to break exactly that kind of defense. Scouting reports on his game repeatedly point to the same thing. He's not a one-footed dribbler who only threatens from one side of the pitch. Last season at Leipzig, he played the overwhelming majority of his minutes on the right, over 1,500 minutes there compared to under 500 on the left. But he was comfortable, effective, and dangerous on either flank. That's not a small detail. That's a defensive coordinator's nightmare. Why? Because a low block is built on predictability. Defenders shift and cover based on knowing roughly where the threat is going to come from. A winger, who can only hurt you from the right, lets a back line set its shape accordingly. A winger, who's a genuine weapon from both sides, forces every single defender to second-guess their positioning for the full 90 minutes. And here's the part that should really worry opposing coaches. It's not just his dribbling. It's the counter-press. Remember that quote from Werner? Diomande isn't a luxury attacker who disappears defensively. He's relentless when the ball is lost, closing passing lanes, forcing turnovers high up the pitch. That means low blocks don't even get the luxury of a slow, controlled build-up to relieve pressure. He hunts the ball back before you've even settled into your defensive shape. Put those two traits together, two-footed wing threat, plus elite counter-pressing intensity, and you get a player specifically engineered to dismantle the exact defensive strategy that has kept La Liga's smaller clubs competitive against Madrid for years. That should scare people. But it gets worse for the rest of the league because of where he's about to be deployed. The Real Madrid dynamic, Mourinho's machine. This is the section where everything clicks into place. José Mourinho is back at Real Madrid, and multiple outlets, including The Athletic, report he's building his side around a specific structure, a 4-2-3-1, the same shape that helped define his most successful spell at the club over a decade ago. Here's how the pieces are reportedly slotting in. Kylian Mbappé leads the line as the out-and-out number 9, using his pace to threaten in behind. Jude Bellingham drops into the number 10 role just behind him, the exact role Bellingham thrived in during his debut Madrid season, when he produced 23 goals and 13 assists on the way to a League and Champions League double. Vinícius Jr. moves back to his most comfortable position, left winger, where he can attack defenders in isolation rather than compete centrally with Mbappé. That leaves one spot open, the right wing. Before Diomande's arrival, that spot was a genuine question mark. Names like Michael Olise, Federico Valverde, and Bernardo Silva were all floated as possible solutions. Now, Madrid have gone out and spent well over 100 million euros to arrive with their own answer, already built for exactly this system. Think about what that means practically. Diomande isn't walking into Madrid hoping to force his way into a settled 11. He's arriving into a genuine competition for one specific high-value seat in a formation his manager has already committed to. A formation that depends on width, verticality, and speed in transition to work. Those are literally his core strengths. And imagine the picture this creates on match day. Mbappe pinning the last defender centrally. Bellingham arriving late into the box from midfield. Vinícius isolating a fullback on the left. And now, potentially, a teenager who created 11 chances in 4 World Cup games doing the same thing on the right, with the license and the counter-pressing engine to make sure the opposition never gets a settled moment to reorganize. That's not a front 3 anymore. That's 4 separate matchup nightmares happening simultaneously, in a formation specifically designed by one of the most tactically ruthless coaches in modern football to maximize exactly this kind of talent. Here's the uncomfortable question every rival manager in La Liga now has to sit with. If a low block couldn't consistently stop Vinícius and Mbappé working as a duo last season, what happens when Madrid can throw a third, equally dangerous body at you from the opposite flank, with a manager who's already proven he knows how to build a team specifically to punish deep defensive shapes? There isn't an easy answer to that, and that's exactly why this is a problem. The part nobody wants to say out loud. Let's be honest about the other side of this, because a fair breakdown has to include it. Diomande is 19. He has 1 full standout Bundesliga season and 1 shortened World Cup campaign. Impressive numbers, but a small sample size compared to a player with 3 or 4 years of proven top-level output. Analysts have pointed out real areas to develop. In the final third, his movement can be static at times. He's been described as staying wide rather than consistently attacking the back post, which can limit his goal output relative to his chance creation. There's also the question of adaptation. The Bundesliga and La Liga are different environments with different physical and tactical demands. Plenty of high-profile signings have needed a full season to adjust before their talent translated into consistent output at a new club, under a new coach, in a new country. And Mourinho's Madrid project itself is still forming. The formation is reported, the plan is reported, but plans on paper and results on the pitch are 2 very different things, especially at a club under this much scrutiny. So no, this isn't a guarantee. Nothing in football is. But here's why the concern is still real and not just hype. The profile fits too precisely to ignore. A 2-footed winger, a relentless counterpresser, signed into a formation built specifically around that kind of player, by a manager with a track record of getting the most out of exactly these attributes. So here's where we land. Real Madrid didn't just spend over 100 million euros on a talented teenager. They identified the single tactical weakness that's kept them from steamrolling every low block La Liga has thrown at them. And they went and bought the specific tool built to break it. If Diomande adapts anywhere near the level he showed at Leipzig and at the World Cup, La Liga isn't looking at a promising new face in the league next season. It's looking at a 4th attacking weapon inside a system that was already difficult enough to defend with 3. So I leave you with this. If you're one of the 16 other coaches in this league who has to find a way to stop Mbappe, Bellingham and Vinícius, and now Diomande, what's your plan? Because right now, nobody seems to have one. Drop your answer in the comments. And if you want to see how this actually plays out once the season starts, make sure you're subscribed, because this is a story we're going to be coming back to a lot sooner than you think.